Now this will tell us. And that's pretty conclusive. Still going. Close. I think he got it down.
How strong is he?
Kia ora team, welcome back to the Pick and Go podcast. My name is Logan Jones, Karl Tiley, and I am at home. But in the studio, we do have the other two legs of this tripod. Paul Mawate and Richard Latty. Lads, how are you?
Kia ora, Karl. Good to be here. Like what you did there, the tripod. It's very smart. Welcome back. Looking forward to hearing your insight onto the season so far and talking about the weeks ahead.
Paul?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Karl. I see you wearing your Highlanders jersey and not wearing a mask. That is just so Highlanders at the moment. Wowee.
Wow, Paul.
Well,
given how
I don't make the news. I just report it.
Given how contentious this topic is, yeah, we've gone straight in. We've gone straight there.
Yep.
Okay. Look, I'm not really sure where to go from here, so we might just wrap things up and call it a day.
Oh, done.
Good.
Great show.
Cheers, guys. Hope you got some insight from that.
No, we'll skip over that, and we'll probably circle back to it shortly as we get to the previews heading into this week. But a couple of things I need to touch on before we get to the learnings or the lessons of the week. Just a few words and things I know Patrick likes to touch on each week, so I'm just going to get them out of the way. Manawa 2, Ruben Love, hot take. Did I miss anything?
Manawa 2, Ruben Love. I can't think of any Manawa 2 players who really stood out in the last week, and Ruben Love had probably an average game. So
I just wanted to mention them, just get them in the pod somewhere, and
so we've covered that.
We can tick that off, and now we can move on.
We're all good.
Now I haven't hosted the podcast since we've gone to the new format, so please give it to me if I get it wrong. But I'm going to throw to you boys first for the lessons of the week segment. We're going to rip straight into this, and Richard, I'd like to hear from you. What did you learn in this past week, Super Rugby?
I was pleasantly surprised by Moana Pacifica, actually. Those of you who listened to the podcast and saw our social media snip from last week, we were all very...
we got that wrong.
Yeah, we got that very wrong. We were all very high on the Crusaders. I think the line kept coming in. It sort of closed at about 35.5. I couldn't believe it. I was on all sorts of alternative starts and margin bets. But, great performance from them. Obviously, it wasn't a full-strength Crusaders team, but I was still expecting, just with the sort of... way they'd had started their season with COVID through the camp. I was expecting them to really have a hard time there, but they came out firing and they really, they were still within and converted try and some within about 10 minutes to go. So, yeah, awesome to see. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they go this season and if they can get a couple of wins on the board.
Tell you how you won't be able to see them go this week because it looks like the Hurricanes and the Moana Pacific game has been canned. Yeah, they were great, and as you say, they were right in it up until the last 10 minutes, and then the Crusaders did Crusader things.
Yeah, exactly,
and ran away with it.
Cody Taylor scores a couple of tries off the bench, but awesome performance from them. So
yeah,
maybe not see them this week, but it'd be cool to see what they can do in the weeks to come.
I know it wasn't the top strength Crusader side, but they were poor. Their accuracy was severely lacking. And that may have had something to do with the pressure that the Moana Pacifica team put on them. But I don't remember the last time I saw a Crusaders team that just unable to just even perform the basics of the game. The passing was just terrible.
It wasn't a great game. Yeah, it was awesome to watch from Moana Pacifica, but yeah, for Crusaders fans, it would have been a pretty tough watch. I obviously got the win and got the bonus points, so I think they'll be relieved at that. Bonus points are going to be pretty crucial in this comp, I reckon. But it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back this week. I see they've got 10 All Blacks in the starting 15, so they've obviously not taking this week a lot more seriously.
Yeah, the Crusaders lineup is very scary this week if you're not a Crusader. So we'll get to that shortly.
Yeah.
Just on the Crusaders game, am I the only one that's concerned that they scored all of their tries through the forward pack, rolling mauls, scrums? It was very boring. I think there was one out wide, but it was still a forward. Very unlike the Crusaders. Was that a result of the Moana Pacifica defense, you think, or how bad the Crusaders were?
I'd say it'd be a combination of both, really. Yeah, I think the Moana Pacifica just rushed up and the back line just didn't have any answers. But a lot of it would be that there was a lot of guys there who were playing, having their first start for the Crusaders and probably looking to that was the opportunity to really put their hand up, and they probably, apart from probably Kamina Holo on the wing, none of that back line really did much and were able to sort of do anything really, But I mean, it's probably the one position where the Crusaders don't need an extra sort of spanner in the works with the likes of sort of Will Jordan and Whanganuku and Reese and George Bridge that they've already got there. But yeah, I thought Kamina Holo was probably one standout on a pretty disappointing Crusaders team.
The reason they didn't score any tries out wide was because they couldn't put any passes together. So
it's very hard.
It's very hard to score tries out wide when you're dropping the second or third pass sort of thing. And so as a result, they kept it in fairly tight at times, and that's where they sort of, I guess, they butter their bread, to be fair. Even when they do get it wide, it all starts from that engine room, and they sort of reverted back to that, either because that was where their strength lay, or because they just couldn't get the ball out wide with any consistency. So it was a blip on the Crusader season, I'll say. I don't expect to see them at that level this weekend.
No.
Really took me back to 15 years of social rugby, not being able to get the ball past second five.
It's almost like the kids when they're 15 are all running around in one sort of circle, and then some kid pops out the back with the ball and runs backwards for 10 metres and then tries to go around the whole team.
Yeah, again, reminds me of 15 years of social rugby. Paul, your learnings or lessons from the last week?
The Fijian Drua can play rugby. But after going 14-0 down, almost on the stroke of half time, they almost went into the second half 14-0 down, and I don't think they would have come back from that. But they scored just on half time, and it gave them a wee bit of a boost. I really like the way that they fought back, kept going. They scored some great tries. On the other side, boy, the Rebels are just poor. You would think that they're in a city where the Rugby League team is one of the best and has consistently been one of the best. You think they'd be able to sort of grab a few
couple of good AFL teams as well.
Yes, they'd be able to grab some sort of learnings from either the Storm or the Demons or one of the Melbourne teams that are around there, and just pick up a few things. This is how we do things behind the scenes. This is how you get a successful franchise going. But they really are poor, and they've got some good players in there. Matt Tamua, I thought he went all right on the weekend, but they just can't seem to put it together. I actually don't know what the Rebels need to do. I would suggest calling up the Storm and saying, "Hey, can we have a coffee or something?"
Some sort of combined training session, you reckon?
Well, I think the Storm forward pack would probably push the Rebels forward pack back, and you know that in rugby league they don't push in the scrum. So
there's only 6 of them as well.
So yeah, no, but it's great to see. Well, first of all, the Moana Pacifica put up such a great fight against the Crusaders, even with their terrible build-up that they had. And then Fiji and Drua get their first win of the season.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be the last win the Fiji and draw get either. They are an exciting outfit.
Yeah.
I had a couple of notes here this week, and I don't really know which way to go, but I'm going to stick in Australia. James O'Connor, very good rugby player.
He's still got it.
I've always liked James O'Connor for some reason, but I just sort of rewatched the highlights this morning of that Reds game versus who do they play? Not the Force. That's this week. Whoever they played last week.
The Reds played the Force. Yeah,
they played the Force this week. Oh no, last week. Sorry.
Yeah, it was a great game too.
Yeah, it was. But all of the Reds' 29 points went through O'Connor, and the tries that he set up weren't just stock standard catch and pass. Every single try he created, and he looks like one to watch heading into the international season. I know we're only 3 weeks in, but if that Reds team is legit, and when the two, New Zealand, Australia combine, and we start seeing some of these international games being played, he's one that can keep the Reds in this and get them into the semi-finals for sure. Love to hear you guys' thoughts.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've always had a soft spot for him. I'm not sure what it is. Might be my love for Justin Bieber,
Baby.
K-Zone karaoke.
No.
But he's been playing incredible. And he got injured at India last year, didn't he? So he sort of missed out on the Wallabies India tour, and he could have missed out on a couple of those Reds games later in the Super Rugby Trans-Tasman as well. But he's just playing great. He was, I don't know if you saw, but he was on the TAB Super Rugby Team of the Week, sitting out at 10 there. So he really putting his hand up, because he's been around for a while now. Was he playing in the 2011 World Cup? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I think he debuted for the Wallabies when he was 17.
Yeah, so he's just getting better with age, like a fine wine. So I'm absolutely with you there. I think he's playing great, and if he can keep that up, the Reds could really go deep in the comp.
Yeah. Paul, anything to add there?
Yeah, as Richie said, he's matured a hell of a lot since he was running around a few years ago, and I think being in the Red system with Brad Thorne leading the way, I think there was no other way for it, because if he hadn't matured, he'd be on his bike and playing somewhere else. So it's been a very, very good, partnership with him being at the Reds and under the tutelage of Brad Thorne. And that's why the Reds are, they're not the best team, Australian team on the table, but in my opinion, they are the best Reds team at the moment. They look by far and away the best team, even though the Brumbies are slightly above them, I think, on points difference on the table at the moment.
Yeah, nice. We'll have a quick look at the other couple of New Zealand games from last week before we get to the previews this week. We'll start with the Blues Chiefs. Blues getting away with one, 24-22. It wasn't that convincing, Richard.
No, it wasn't. But they probably deserved it after they butchered the game the week before, But no, there was, obviously there was plenty of things that didn't go their way. Chiefs probably looked like the better team for most of their game. I thought they came out firing. Brad Weber was outstanding in his 100th match, getting a couple of tries, and that chip and chase was just, well, you wouldn't call it chip and chase.
Is that not the greatest individual try in a milestone match you've ever seen?
Like something from John on Rugby, they bounce the ball, get a little George Cregan running onto it or something. But it wasn't great. And then obviously there was that penalty at the end. I think Tom Robinson, you could see the look of relief on his face, because it was a pretty silly move. What he did was pretty dumb. It was pretty clear penalty and very kickable penalty. But Gatlin just couldn't. He obviously hit the legs, but just couldn't get the angle right. But they covered, so I was happy. But Blues, they were sort of touted pretty highly. They were second favourites the start of the season, but and I wasn't that high on them, and they haven't done too much yet. Like, I think there's still plenty to sort of like. I think in particular, Stephen Petafeta was just outstanding. He's a player that I think Paul and I both shouted out a lot on the podcast last year, and the NPC, and it's good to see him sort of bringing that form over. And I see if the game is played this week, he's got the been named in the 15 jersey again.
Shaking wheels as well.
Yeah. He's got some. Yeah. He outpaced Nana Satu, I think.
Yeah.
At the end
Didn't
there.
expect that.
No. And he's got a couple of tries, got that conversion as well. So yeah, I mean, there's still things for the Blues to like. I'm a bit worried with RTS being out. I don't think it's as serious as I first thought, which is good. But Blues still got a wee way to go if they're really going to push the sort of Crusaders in this comp, I think.
Yeah, I was, I think, for the one or two pick and goes I have been on this season, the question was asked Crusaders or the field, and I took the field. I think I might want to change that because the Blues were the ones that were probably leading the field for me. But
yeah,
after what I've seen so far, I don't think, it's not pretty. As you say, Rissy and Paul, the Chiefs dominated that game, and they were very unlucky. They should have won. I don't really know what else to say, Paul.
Well, as you say, that was a brilliant individual try by Brad Weber. I don't think it's the best individual try that we've seen on that ground, though. I thought John Kerwin's. Well, hold on.
Here we go.
We're talking brilliant individual before tries, and I'd say the best individual try I've ever seen was John Kerwin's World Cup try back in 1987 against the Italians, where he ran through the entire Italian team.
Know your audience, Paul. Know your audience.
I have seen the highlights of that, and it is pretty. And it's also something like it's straight from John on Rugby, just running
exactly, just
straight through.
Yeah. Know where you come from before you just get ahead of yourself there, Karl. You're very Highlander today. I can feel.
Hey, mate, I've seen the try plenty of times. I know exactly what you're talking about, but some of our younger listeners may not know.
Search it on YouTube. It's worth a watch.
The best part of that is the flag.
Brilliant.
The flag exploding at the end. The old cornflake flags or whatever they were cornflake.
But back to the Blues Crusaders. It's almost Blues Chiefs. It's almost it's not a game that got away from the Chiefs in the sense that the Blues game against the Hurricanes the week before got away from them. They sort of threw it away in the last 10 minutes when they should have just shut up shop and run the clock out. The Chiefs, as you say, they were very, very. I thought they ground down the Blues really, really well. The forward pack played outstandingly. I thought Sam Cane had one of his best games of the season. I thought he was in amongst everything pretty much. But once again, when you have the opportunity to, do you think Josh Ioane would have knocked that last penalty over?
Yes.
He's got license veins, Yeah, I reckon he would have.
Okay. I feel for what's his name?
Gatlin.
I was going to say Warren Gatlin from mate.
Feel for him too.
You've got it. He would have done the toe poke, I'm sure. But I thought the Blues just stuck in the game. The Chiefs should have been ahead by a lot more than they were during that game, and they just weren't able to put the Blues away. Usually because of just the way the ball bounced. Ironically enough, because that's how Brad Weber got his try, or just the fact that the Blues just, I don't know how to say it. They were like a rash, and they just wouldn't go away. Do you know? And the Chiefs didn't have an ointment to put on that rash. To sort of.
Oh my God! This is a new all-time low for the pick and go.
Oh, I can go lower.
Well, before you do, maybe I should cut in here and save the ASA complaints. Yeah, well, I was at, I didn't see this game live. I was at playing golf at Wairaki in Taupo.
Here we go. He just slots in as
Patrick and Manawatu and Karl and golf.
No, it's got a rugby twist to it. We came in, we just finished, and now into the clubhouse, and there were a group of maybe 10 or 15 guys from Auckland all huddled around the TV watching the end of this game with so much intent and intensity that when that penalty goal missed, they were sort of everyone's up and about, yeah, charhoing, and they were very happy that Gatlin missed that. So.
Yeah, looked like the Eden Park faithful. The few that were allowed in, they all looked pretty pumped up about it as well. So
yeah.
So Tom Robinson, arms up in the air, praying to a higher Lord.
Next game to look back on, Hurricanes Highlanders. Not a great game.
Great game.
Understatement.
Great game. Loved it.
It was pathetic, wasn't it?
Well, I like the result, but it was wasn't the most exciting and sort of groundbreaking match I've ever watched. I think 7-0 at halftime, and that kind of summed it up pretty well. Few tries in the second half. I think Hurricanes bench came on and sort of did their job pretty well. I think the Hurricanes take any positives from that. Well, they got the win, got the points. They take some positives, but there wasn't that many standouts, probably apart from Savia. I thought that Savia, as he does, had an absolutely exceptional game. But the bench came on and did the job and set a couple of late tries. Yeah, so nothing wild. But I'd be interested to see if there's Hurricanes, whether some of these bench guys are going to get a start in the next few weeks, because there's a few guys that are really putting their hand up there.
I thought Braden Yossi
he was
huge and injected a lot of energy into that game when he came on. I didn't mind the look of that young lock Delaney. I thought he was very industrious. I think that's a Nisbo word, industrious, throughout the game. Geordie had his moments.
Yeah.
He popped in and out.
Just a couple of kicks, didn't he? I think he missed a couple of penalties potentially.
He did. I guess on the Highlanders side, it was a game that Whakatawa probably would rather forget. He made a couple of mistakes early on, and he never really recovered from that, and so they made the change right on halftime. Well, at the second half, Aaron Smith came out, and he sort of changed the sort of dynamic in that Highlanders team. But I didn't think it was a bad game. I thought it was a good game where there were a few mistakes by both teams, but the better team came out in the end.
Now who's one-eyed?
Same game there.
Without sounding one-eyed, and forgive me that I'm wearing this top, but am I right in saying that the Highlanders probably blew it?
Nah, I don't think so. I think the Hurricanes were the better team, and that's sort of what they did the whole time, didn't they? And Highlanders showed some fight at the end and got that late try, and then they were sort of pushing into their territory right at the end there. But I thought the Hurricanes were quite clearly the better team and probably should have won by more almost.
Okay, we're going to have to agree to disagree here. So.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there as well.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been a different story if was it Coombs Fabling who didn't take the cross kick from was it Mitch? Who put the kick across?
Must have been Chan,
or was it Sam Gilbert? I can't remember. Who's the winger with the headgear?
Yeah, it's Coombs Fabling.
Yeah. And he was pretty much unmarked.
Yeah.
He just needed to catch it and fall over the line.
Yeah.
So it may have been a different story there, but
the kick was from Marty Banks.
Marty, I forgot the legend.
The Highlanders, a bit like the Hurricanes bench, the Highlanders bench really turned that game for the Highlanders. The starting team was pretty bad. And we've seen a few changes in the lineup this week, heading into the game. And I guess, unless there's anything else you guys want to touch on from last week, we should probably get into this week.
Oh, and how about Logan Henry? Pretty much scores a try with almost his first touch of the game.
Yeah, how good.
Comes on,
Youngster,
puts the plumbing tools down, and it's just a great story. I guess it makes the victory a wee bit more sweeter because of the changes that the Hurricanes had to make just prior to game time with Omua out, and then having to juggle a few things around. I don't know. I enjoyed the game. Really enjoyed it, Karl.
Well, I didn't see it because I don't know if I told you, but I was playing golf at Wairakei in Taupo, and
the Canes covered as well, -6.5.
Yeah, I know. I was actually on the
sickest part.
There was a couple of sick misses with the point start last week. The bookies got it pretty good. Shout out to the bookies last week. With some great lines. Right. I think we can move on.
Yeah. Let's how about we stick with the Highlanders and the Blues. Played for the Gordy Hunter Memorial on Friday night. Blues $1.22 favourites, and the line is 11.5. Initial thoughts from you boys: do they deserve the $1.22 and the 11.5 points?
It's hard, eh? They obviously deserve to be favourites. If there wasn't this concern with COVID in the Highlanders camp, I'd be pretty keen to jump on the plus there. I think the Highlanders have probably been better than that. They have sort of kept it close. Obviously the Crusaders game, they were in it for 65 minutes, and the Crusaders just did Crusaders things in the final time. But just with the uncertainty with the COVID, it's a hard one to sort of judge this. Blues have won 4 of the last 5. Only one of them has been by 12 plus points. The Highlanders sort of have been there or thereabouts. They're just missing that punch. I think, as you did allude to there, Karl, the bench was pretty good last week. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one. I'll probably be taking the plus still if the game goes on.
Yeah, where are you sitting on this one, Paul?
The $1.22 I don't mind. I think the Blues will be just too strong for the Highlanders tomorrow night. The 11.5. I think once again, I think the bookies, much like last week, I think they pretty much got that line exactly where it should be. I think 11.5 is.
It's actually 10.5 now.
Oh, is it? Now I'm starting to think more along the Blues, minus the points. If it got down to 9.5, I'd be jumping all over the Blues. I do think they will be just a wee bit too good for the Highlanders, but I do think it's going to land around that 10, 11, 12 margin. So if I can get minus 9.5, I'm happy to take it, but very, very happy to take the Blues at $1.22. Cannot see them getting beat.
No. And you can't?
Well, I like the plus. I'm looking at the lineups here. Man for man, the starting 15. And again, this could be my blind optimism, but I feel like the Highlanders can really give this team a go. The forward pack is, pretty close, like for like. You obviously got the big standouts for the Blues, Papali'i and Satutu, Laulala.
No Josh Goodhue for the Blues, which is pretty massive. He's been for the last couple of weeks.
You've got guys Frizzell, Evans, Mikaeli Tu'u for the Highlanders. Aaron Smith's back in the starting lineup. He's the best halfback in the world. Bodie, big in for the Blues, I guess. Getting that start.
I think the French might have something to say about that anyway.
Yeah. And then obviously no RTS for the Blues. Scott Gregory comes in the centres for the Highlanders. I don't know. I think maybe the Blues have a little bit more X factor, but I think the Highlanders. I'm going to take the 10.5 or 11.5, whatever it is now, for sure. I think they're a red hot chance, as they have been all of their games so far. It's just sort of left themselves a little bit short come the close of the games.
Yeah. Their Conor Gardner-Bishop and Thomas Duncan-Jensen were again brilliant on Saturday night, I thought. All things considering, with that game. So if those two can sort of just keep this rise that they're sort of on at the moment, I don't know about an upset, but I'd be happy to take I'll be siding with the plus, providing everyone stays fit and healthy. He's actually been pretty good off the bench as well. Like he's just he's solid. He's never going to anything too flashy, but does his job well.
And I think that's what they brought him back for, right? It was just that Mitch Hunt's the go-to guy. He's their number one. And I think with Ioane and Hunt, they weren't really sure who was the number one and who played where. But at least with Banks, he's going to give you 20 minutes solid off the back end of a game. Not really going to put a foot wrong. And then you got Fakatava. I imagine he's going to bounce back with a big game after last week's showing. Punivai comes back on the bench. I think the bench probably, I tip it to the Highlanders. I don't know. I don't want to sound too Patrick Manawatu biased so I'll step back.
You passed that a long time ago, big guy.
Do you want me to take the top off? Should we do this now?
Whoa, come. Family show, fair.
Paul, RTS, how much of a loss is he for this Blues team?
He's a slight loss. I think the fact that Bodie had a gallop under his belt last week he'll be a lot better for that. So they sort of balance things out. They did he has been the focus of a lot of their sort of first phase attacks, RTS. So I don't know whether they're going to sort of restructure or redo their sort of offensive mindset now. But with Bodie back, I think they have to, don't they? He's the one where they focus around now, and with players like Peter Feta, who he was outstanding last week, really stood up. I think we'll see this Blues backline really start to hum. Although I'd prefer to see RTS in the lineup, I think they've got enough cover there to compensate for his loss, and the fact that Bodie is almost back to 100% now. I just think when the players go to somewhere like Japan and then come back, it just takes them a few games to get back into the sort of the hum of Super Rugby, regardless of how good you are. And I think we saw that with who's the big lock that came back? Retallick. I think he's just starting to get back into it again.
Yeah, he wasn't his best in the All Blacks last year.
No. But now that he's been back in the system for a while, he's just starting to get back up to speed. So I'm sure we'll see Bodie starting to reach the heights that we saw before he went on his little overseas sojourn. So I do like the Blues. 122.
Okay. Anything else to add on this game, lads, before we have a quick look at a same-game multi? We've obviously got same-game claim on all Super Rugby games this weekend.
Okay. No, I think that sounds good for me.
Alrighty. So the story is place a 3 leg or more same-game multi, and a same-game multi. And if you miss by 1 leg, we'll give you a refund up to $50 as a bonus bet. So let's do a quick whip around. I don't think there's the same game multi is not actually available yet here on Thursday at 10:12 a.m. But it will. Richard, where are you going?
Well, it was actually available yesterday afternoon, and I put together a wee one. Highlanders plus 14.5 alternative start, over 44.5 points, and Blues to win by 4+. And it came to $7.50, which I thought was really nice.
Mm.
So hopefully that wasn't a glitch in the system somewhere.
Did you get your money on? We're good.
Were you on our side?
Was on TV.NZ. Yeah, so yeah, that I thought that was really nice. I think the Blues will win, but just to get that extra sort of 3 or 4 points with the point start for the Highlanders, and I think we'll see a few points scored. So yeah.
Yeah. Paul?
I was going to go, well, the Blues, if the Blues get to 9.5, I'd throw in the Blues minus 9.5, the Blues to lead at halftime and to win. And then I'd also throw Bowden Barrett in for a try. So I can't tell you how much that would be because we can't actually put a same game multi on at the moment.
Yeah. I am going to go with the Highlanders plus, whatever that may be. We'll say 12.5.
Plenty of options, yeah.
Yeah. I'm also going to go. I'm looking at the line here. Total points. It's 52.5. Yeah, let's go over. Let's have a bit of fun there. And I'm going to chuck in a couple of try scorers. One being Bodie, and the other being Garden Basher. Electric.
I'm on that.
Again, don't know what that comes out to. I imagine should be a double figures. But yeah, have a look when the markets open up on tab.co.nz. Okay, next game on the run sheet, Hurricanes Moana Pacifica. We can put a line through that. By all accounts, it sounds like that will be canned due to COVID.
It has. It's
official.
I think it has. Well, what have I got here? Oh, it just says 10 minutes ago. It just says match set to be called off. That's all.
Yeah, it's not on the website as well. So
20 Hurricanes players testing positive for COVID. So
if it does go ahead, I'll be on the plus.
We've taken it down, haven't we? Yeah. It's off our boards.
Alrighty.
It's a real shame for Moana Pacifica.
Mm.
But such is sport nowadays.
Yeah, tough to navigate. I mean, the Highlanders Blues game is very much day by day, as Tony Brown said, with a few of the Highlanders players having COVID too. So watch this space. Crusaders Chiefs.
Game of the round.
Game of the round. Well, is it?
What's your game of the round?
Reds
Drewer.
No, I'm big. I'm a Waratahs later on. We'll get to that. But what can we talked about the Crusaders before? It wasn't a great performance from them last week. What do they take out of that game? Or do they just take the points and then move on?
Yeah, I think they just be happy. They got the win, got a bonus point. As sort of mentioned before, I think bonus points will be really important. It's had to put them on top of the table. I think they've got 2 bonus points now, so they're on 1 more point than what the Brumbies are, I think. So I saw like an interview with Scott Robertson, and he was just like, I'm glad that we sort of stuck it in there, and like we finished strong and we did what we had to do. As I said before, there was a couple of guys who probably would have liked to have put their hand up who didn't. But when you see the Crusaders team they've named this week, I think we'll be seeing a very, very different performance from the Crusaders, and I think they might. I don't feel like they've gelled yet. Even in the Highlanders game, they looked really slow for about 60, 65 minutes of the game. Same with that sort of Hurricanes game. They probably only played about 20 really good minutes, so they still managed to get a 10.1. So if they can really put it all together, they've got Cody Taylor starting, they've got Mwanga starting this week. So I'm a bit worried about what could happen here.
Yeah, you mentioned that lineup. Moody, Taylor, Newell, Barrett, Whitelock, Blackadder, Christie, Matera. That's just the form pack. Hall, Moanga, Whanganuku, Havili, Eno, Reece, Jordan. Absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, of the five, sorry, I just get in there. Of the 5 Crusaders that aren't All Blacks, one of them's Lisa Whanganuku, who will be at some point, you'd imagine. And then they've got, Matera.
Who's an international.
International, yeah. So basically, yeah. And saying that, though, the Chiefs also very, very, very good squad. And the Battle of Fords is going to be huge, I think. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 All Blacks in their 4-pack themselves. So I think we could experience, look forward to a real tough battle up front.
Yeah, and I guess, Paul, that's probably where the Chiefs need to focus their attention is up forward, because if they want to get into a what's an analogy, a sporting analogy here, maybe a rally out the back, you're definitely leaning the way of the Crusaders when you're looking in the back lines.
Yeah, I guess from a Chiefs point of view, you probably want to play the game right to the letter of the law. Maybe even step over that line every now and then.
A couple of guys in that team that can definitely do that.
Yeah, yes, I think that's how they were successful against the Crusaders when I think Dave Rennie was the coach. And they used to just upset the Crusaders. They used to push them off the Crusaders' game plan because they just used to play it right to the letter of the law. They had a couple of good players, and they've got a couple, as you say, they've got a couple of good players who can do that right now. So I think they have to do. They have to take the Crusaders out of their game plan and get them playing the Chiefs' way. And so if the Chiefs can do that, then certainly that point start, I think it's 11.5 at the moment, it certainly does look quite attractive. I just think after that poor performance that the Crusaders put on last week, even though the bulk of this team wasn't part of that, I think they will be very, very keen to put a performance on the board that says to the rest of the competition, yeah, we're here to win, boys.
Yeah, we've just been playing around. This is it.
Yeah, this is where I don't know whether teams do this, whether they look at the draw and they go, right, this is a game here where we put our foot down and we let everyone know that we mean business. So I'm thinking this is a game for the Crusaders to do that. But if the Chiefs are to be successful, I think they've got to get a wee bit niggly, just really a little bit of off-ball stuff. Nothing too outrageous, but just put the Crusaders off their game. They're a chance there.
I like that. More for niggle. And I think they need to get the ball in the hands of Peter Gus-Saukula as much as possible.
Yeah,
that guy
he's huge this season.
Absolute freak in a good way.
Did you see the video yesterday of like him comparing him to NFL players?
I did, yes.
It was awesome. Yes. If you haven't seen it, I think it's on the Chiefs. I think I saw it on their Chiefs Twitter page. Well worth a watch.
Yeah.
There's a couple of really battles I'm really looking forward to. Just the midfield in particular, and Havili up against Tapia and Leonard Brown. Good to see him back starting. And then probably battle of the sevens. I think for the Crusaders, Tom Christie's been great this season. I think he's still the top sort of tackle, got the highest tackle count in the comp, and he's obviously playing against Sam Cane, so expect some fireworks there. And the second rows as well. There's 4 All Black locks playing. So, more I look at it, I think I'm leaning with the Crusaders at the start, but that Chiefs team, wow. And they'll be hurting from last week.
Well, that was going to be my next question. What do they take out of last week? For me, I think they probably go, obviously take the positive and say they should have won that game. They dominated for most of it and try and feed off that energy into this one. Paul,
probably had some PTSD from last year when they were losing every game by like 1 or 2 points, Then they went on that ridiculous run of losses where it was like, I think it was 8 or 9 in a row in the end, but like at least 4 or 5 of them were by 1 or 2 points or like, one score. So they've been there before and they bounced back pretty well from that. So I think they got a win against Crusaders last year as well. So the Crusaders have won 4 of the last 5. And 3 of those wins have been over that line. What is the line now? It was 6.5 yesterday, but I think it might have gone up.
It was 8.5 about an
8.5,
hour ago.
Yeah, I think it's still 8.5.
Paul,
What? 11.5?
11.5.
What's happened?
Here we go.
Pile on. Paul,
Wow.
can
I don't know
Gatlin
about
bounce
that.
back?
I was quite keen on 8.5 or 6.5 at least. I was 6.5 yesterday, so is there someone out? I don't know. We'll have a quick look.
Dig deep into rugby Twitter, Rossi, while we Paul, can Bryn Gatlin bounce back after last week?
Yes, definitely. I wouldn't have him in the starting lineup, but I probably wouldn't bring him on in the last few minutes either with the game in the balance. I'd probably just let Josh do his thing, go the whole 80, and then bring Bryn back in when they've got a game against maybe Moana Pacifica, or even against the Hurricanes. Bring him in and just let him get his feet back and just gradually get back into the game. But I don't think you want to bring him in late in the game when there's 2 or 3 points in it. That's I think the sort of the memories are just a wee bit too fresh for you to do that.
Have I missed? Where is Josh Ioane? I assume he's out injured.
Is that why the market's moved?
Well, because he hasn't been named though anywhere.
He must be injured, yeah.
He's not on the bench. He's not anywhere. So this team was named that I'm looking at was yesterday. The bookies can't be that slow, surely.
Yeah, because Gatlin is playing 10, isn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's not on the All Black rest and rotation policy thing, so
I can't find anything in the short amount of research I've just done here.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think when he came off, whether he had a niggle or they just brought Gatlin on. Maybe just give him a rest.
Tough scenes if that's where they're at already.
Or maybe he's got the C word.
Keep that under wraps.
11.5 though. I don't know. What side are you leaning on?
I'm tempted to take the Chiefs at plus 11.5.
Same actually. Oh, the Crusaders though.
It was a scary team. Anything else to preview in this game? Boys, I can see the time's getting on. We've still got a bit to get through.
Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, let's move it along.
Move it along. All right, around the grounds time. Not entirely sure how this works, but from what I understand, we're going to preview a game each. Paul, I've given you Rebels Brumbies. What do you got for us?
I'm just happy to take the Brumbies. The Rebels are just terrible. I know the Brumbies didn't get it all their own way against the Tars last weekend. The Tars are actually a wee bit better than I expected them to be. I thought they were going to be a wee bit of a rebel at the beginning of the season, and then I thought they kept it close against the Reds pretty much because of the conditions. But they also they showed some glimpses of some really, really good play against the Brumbies last week. I just think the Brumbies run all over the Rebels here. Similar to what they did against the Fijian Drua. I think they'll starve the Rebels of ball and then just grind them down and then pick up a hell of a lot of points in the last quarter of the game. So Brumbies currently $1.14, Rebels $5.25. The point start is 14.5.
That's merged as well. It was
17.5 earlier. What's going on?
I'm very happy to take the Brumbies minus the 14.5.
Yeah. I would have taken 17. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I was the same. Okay, Richard, Reds versus the Draw.
Yeah, intriguing match at Suncorp on Saturday night. Bit of rain in the forecast, but I don't think it should affect things too much. Drew are coming off their win last week, their first win, so they'll be on a high. I don't know. It's a really hard one to take because the Reds are 3-0, and they haven't really, apart from that Waratahs game, they haven't really looked like losing. The line's 23.5 when I last checked, which I feel's about right. I mean, if the Reds get things together, they've still got a few injury niggles and all that sort of thing. I think to see Tate McDermott's still not playing. I think he's a massive out. 25.5. So I'm expecting a good game. I think we should see some excitement, plenty of points. The Draw obviously had those big losses to the Waratahs and the Brumbies, so they've shown that they've sort of struggled against the better Australian teams. I think it was probably 30 and about 35, 40 points in the end to the Brumbies. So we'll probably be siding with the Reds on this, but I'd love to see the Draw put up a fight.
Yeah, can't really disagree there. I have got Tars versus Force here. Now, I went back and watched the highlights of both games last week, and I feel like that game against the Waratahs versus the Brumbies, it was all Ben Donaldson. He was the one that kept them in the game single-handedly, basically, in that last 20 minutes. So I'm not really sure where I stand on the Waratahs. With that being said, the Force against the Reds, I think they were pretty lucky to score as many points as they did. 16, they lost 29-16, I think it was. Their one try was probably the only bit of creativity they had in the game. Real chip kick in behind the scrum, which was great. But yeah, I think the Force are not showing a lot, and I think the Waratahs will roll them. The line at the moment is, when I last checked, 3.5. So I'm more than happy to take 3.5, and the Waratahs $1.60 head to head. So yeah, it's still 3.5. I
was quite big on the Force last week, and I took them. The point start was only about 3.5 or something like that. So I took the plus, but yeah, it wasn't the most convincing performance from them, that's for sure. So They might just struggle against some of the better teams, but Waratahs, I'm still on the fence about them. I keep doubting them, and they keep kind of proving me wrong. So yeah, maybe I should stop doubting them.
The weather, obviously, in Sydney at the moment might be a good thing for the Force. Bring everyone back to the pack a little bit, but I guess we will find out on Sunday afternoon. Okay, should we get to some betting?
Let's do it.
Actually, do you want to have a quick chat about Six Nations first? Big round. Richard, I know you're
made a few notes.
Very keen on the Six Nations.
Getting quite into it, actually. Yeah, it's been some great footy.
It looks like it very well could come down to the last week too.
Yeah, I mean, it'll depend on. I imagine France will get the win this week. They've got Wales, 9.5 point favourites at Millennium Stadium, though. A venue which Wales have actually had some success at lately. They've won their last three Six Nations games there. And they've actually won 5 of the last 6 against France, which is interesting. I mean, obviously not the sort of France team that we're seeing now. France have got a little bit of COVID in their camps. There's a couple, I think they've got about 3 or 4 guys who are out, but Dupont is playing. I think there was some doubt over him, but he has been named. And Wales have made a few changes to their team as well. So I think that if you would look through historically Wales versus France games, you'd have to date back to 2000 to find a game where France has won by 9 points or more. So I'm going to be taking the plus on that. I think Wales have been they've exceeded expectations. They've had some real big outs this tournament, but they've got that win against Scotland, and they kept it really close against England. I think they were down 12-0 at halftime and then 17-0 just after halftime against England, and they ended up clawing their way back and only lost by about 3 or 4 points in the end. So, yeah, you got a take on that game?
Getting into it is an understatement, Richard. That was a comprehensive wrap up.
Oh, it's been some great. So yeah, it's been some really good footy. I've been getting up early on Sundays with the kids and forcing not forcing my daughter to watch Frozen on the laptop while I have the rugby on the big screen. So it's been great. In England, Ireland, obviously plenty of history between those two teams. And now the big game basically can't be separated. I think it's $2 to $1.74. So Ireland come favourites. Ireland smashed them last year, 32-18. Ireland looked like a better team on paper. England have struggled a little bit. They did one 4 straight against Ireland before that one last year, but I'll be pretty happily diving into Ireland. I think they'll want to keep their hopes alive of attacking Six Nations, and they've got a huge game next week against France. So that'll be no, they haven't. Who are they playing?
No, it's England, France next week.
England, France, yeah, and they've got
Wales, I think. Is it?
Yeah, that'd be right. Yeah, so
no, they've got Scotland next week.
Scotland, yeah. So Ireland beat Italy last round. There was a bit of drama in the game with the red cards and all that, but it was 57-6 in the end. So that was just a training run for them. But I think that with potential, they can still get the win if France lose next week or this week. I think Ireland will put on a big performance. Italy's got another game, 9.5 points favourites to Scotland. I'll quite happily dive into that. Italy are not very good at rugby.
When did Italy get the boot from Six Nations? Like they
haven't won in like 3,000 days or something. I saw something like
that's 10 years. It's
Europe,
10 years.
Can you chuck Georgia in there? Like would Georgia be in Italy these days? I don't know.
Chuck anyone else in there.
Spain?
Anyone else.
But yeah, plenty of Six Nations to look forward to. So hopefully we'll be talking about that next week, and title still on the line. But yeah, France will be looking for that Grand Slam.
Very nice. All right, I can see Paul's getting itchy and he wants to get out of here.
Let's do this.
We'll get to some betting, and I'll start with you, Paul. Give me your best bet for this week.
I think it's fairly easy. The Blues, $1.22.
This is an extension of our Rugby League podcast yesterday. You're just winding me up.
Yeah, it's not multi-buster.
You want my best bet? There's my best bet. Blues, $1.22.
Gross. Richard.
I'm going to, I don't know if Karl will like this, but I'm going to go Force plus 3.5. I think they're better than the Waratahs, and to be able to get them with the plus, just hoping they can sort of play to what we saw in those first 2 rounds.
I see your plus 3.5, and I raise your Waratahs head-to-head at $1.60.
Okay.
That's my best bet there. Value bet, Paul.
Force plus 3.5.
How does $1.80 constitute value?
It's not the price. Is the price better than the price they should be getting? That's value.
Oh, that's not what the punters want, though. They want the value and price.
The $1.80 value bet, eh?
Hold on a minute. We've knocked out the 2 upsets over the first couple of rounds, we've got.
Yeah, you called the Drua, didn't you?
Drua at $5 odd last week.
And you
the Hurricanes.
Wasn't that your bonus bet? Yeah, wasn't that your bonus bet game as well?
Yeah,
you fell out.
We're not talking about last week. We're talking about this week.
Harry come lately there in the Highlanders jersey.
$1.80. This is
throwing
disgusting.
darts.
I'm going to be talking to Patrick.
The punters will be waiting for the upset alert.
Richard, your value bet.
I'm going to take a leaf out of Patrick's book and go Crusaders 11 to 20 at $3.80. And considering the line's at 11.5 now, yeah, I think that's probably about right. Well, not the line, about right, but Crusaders are winning by that margin, and that team scares me.
You literally took the words out of my mouth. I said I was going to do a Patrick thing here and take the Crusaders 11 to 20. When I wrote this down, I had $4, so I'll take the 4s over the 3.80.
Yeah, I actually had 4.20 when I very nice.
Paul, upset alert. This should be funny.
Force 1 to 12, 360.
There you go. That's a value bet.
Oh, a Super Rugby bonus bet.
Oh, wow.
I'm taking the conservative approach here. I really want to go Highlanders at $4, but I'm just going to force $2.25 head to head.
Highlanders, $4. I'll do it.
Fair enough.
COVID, obviously, the big concern there, but I think they're a chance. Super Rugby bonus back, of course. The official wording has lost me, but if you place a winning team and margin bet pre-match and your team wins and you select the wrong margin, you'll get a bonus bet back up to $50. Paul, who have you got?
Reds 13 and over, $1.18.
You have got to be kidding me.
It's free. What? Fair dinkum. You asked for what is it? Super Rugby bonus bet, best bet. That is the best bet to take this week in terms of the Super Rugby bonus back promotion. Reds 13 and over.
Oh my God. Wow. I'm lost for words. Richard, help me, please.
Blues 1 to 12 at $3.
There you go. And I'll take Waratahs 1 to 12 at $3. Reds. What if that's what is your multi-anchor?
Reds $1.
I was going to say.
$1.20 or more. We've talked about that.
All right, okay. Blues $1.22.
Yeah. No, that's not bad. I've gone with a try bet, actually, taking a leaf out of Karl's book this time. Brumbies to win by over 7.5, $1.27.
Nice. I'm taking Brumbies 13 plus at $1.52.
Yeah, good.
Alrighty. That must be us done, is it?
Yeah, I think we've babbled on long enough.
We usually do every game.
Oh, the whip around.
Oh, that's
Okay.
right. Yeah.
We're in trouble if I'm the one who knows what's going on.
Look, I had it here in my notes.
I had it written down.
I've got it here in my notes, but I thought we may have covered it when we were just talking before. I don't know.
Make it official.
Yeah,
Official. I need to get the updated lines here. Blues Landers, I've got 11.5. Is that still 10.5 now?
I've got 10.
Yeah.
10.5.
10.5. Paul, where are you going?
I'd love it to be 9.5. I'll still go the Blues minus 10.5.
Richard?
Taking the plus. Highlanders.
Yeah, I'll take the plus 2. Next game, Rebels Brumbies 17.5.
Yeah, Brumbies.
It's 14.5.
Well,
Yeah.
Yep. Even more.
Brumbies.
Even more.
Yep.
Crusaders Chiefs. It was 8.5. It is now
11.5.
Oh.
I would have rather
I don't want to
8.5, but I'll still take 11.5. Crusaders.
I'm going to take the Chiefs plus.
I want to take the Chiefs plus, but given I just said Crusaders 11 to 20, I should probably take the Crusaders here. So I'll do that. I'll take the Crusaders. Reds draw 25.5.
Reds.
Draw.
Someone had to.
Yeah.
And Force plus 3.5.
Yeah. Sign me out.
Minus. Easy.
Bang. Done.
Now we're done. Gentlemen, thank you for having me this week on the Quick and Go. I can't imagine I'll be back next week after today's show. But hey, you never know.
You could be.
Stranger things have happened.
Yep.
There's a reason my pictures, my little character's still on that photo behind you. Thank you for joining me, guys. Enjoy the week. Good luck on the punt. And of course, we will be back next week on the Pick and Go in some way, shape, or form. Hopefully with Patrick. Cheers.
Yeah.
Well done, Karl.
Mm.